33 years old, and we hit it off very well. By, I think, touch wood, and by the grace of God, we have got a perfect combination. He understands me very well. I understand him very well. So we kept on traveling together to a whole lot of places because we wanted to do something in the field of agriculture. We had gone to Jharkhand, we had gone to Rajasthan, we went to UP to a couple of places, Varanasi we went to, and finally, we said, okay, let's make a trip to Badrinath. It was a pleasure trip kind of a thing. We wanted to go and stay in a camp. So in between, there is a place called People Koti, Chamoli. It's very close to Chamoli. There's a place called People Koti. I happened to meet a very old friend of mine whom Ankit also knew. We started talking. In the evening after dinner, I told him about my diabetes and all. That was a revelation to me. He said in that area, there is a very, very special haldi which is grown, which is called Swarna haldi. Okay. Unfortunately, haldi is not biosoluble. So you've got to add other ingredients. And as per the Ayurvedic formulation, there are 13 or 14 other ingredients which have to be added, which have to be of a particular quality in a particular proportion. I didn't trust Ayurveda too much. I mean, typical, like a city-bred boy, grown up in cities. I said, okay, it doesn't matter. He's giving me some powder. I'll have it every day. He also told me to do some pranayam and don't have, this preservatives for 9 months. You guys will be surprised to know in 9 months, my HbA1c level fell down from 8.7 to 5.6. I was non-diabetic. Okay, because of that haldi. I'm telling you what field you guys are in, you can do wonders in that. Agriculture, we haven't realized the potential. My HbA1c level fell to 5.6, 5.7. I was amazed. My doctor was amazed. Gradually, he weaned me off medicines. I was off medicines. My weight, I was fat. Right now also I put on a little weight because of this COVID. But I was fat. I was 95, 96. I had problems in getting up and sitting down also. That kind. I lost 22 kgs of weight. I came down to 74, 75. Right now I must be around 78, 79. Okay. So I came down. That was the second major thing which happened. My cholesterol came under control. That is the time when I became serious. I said, man, this is something like we guys don't know. We always just write it off saying, "Arey, ye to bekar ki baat hai, this doesn't happen." But it actually created that impact on our health. Now, the catch here was this particular haldi. I'm just giving a background so that when we start off, we are talking in the right perspective. I will talk more about, accounting and other things. So, when, the catch here was, normally turmeric, you guys must be aware, most of you must be aware, takes approximately 9 months to grow, 8 to 9 months. But this particular turmeric takes 18 months to grow. Okay, and that is why it's called Budi Haldi, because it becomes like an old woman and then it comes out from the ground. And it comes with a lot of experience. It becomes medicated. It's an Ayurvedic herb. It's no longer a haldi. It's no longer turmeric. It becomes like herbal. And so that was farmers were reluctant to grow. So we aggregated the farmers there along with the help of the government. We aggregated the farmer and started this business. So guys, there is a product which you've got, Haldi Vita. So if you go to the website haldivita.com, those are our products. We developed a range of those products. Now, this was my first journey as an entrepreneur. I have always been in a job, in a consultant. Prior to this, yes, I was in this implementation of solar projects in Dubai and in Oman. I did that for a couple of years. Good money, but there were problems there because we were competing with the Chinese guys. And Chinese guys were just throwing away, money. They said, we just want the contracts, nothing else. So, it was a problem. So I exited out of that. There were a couple of other projects which I was handling and we set up, over a period of time. But that was my first actual entrepreneurship kind of an activity. I and Ankit, we decided we are going to come out with this Haldi Vita. We are going to grow along with that. Now, a typical startup. I didn't know what kind of an animal is this FMCG. Totally different animal. I think it's got four horns, two tails, something like very different than your normal technology companies. Okay, normal technology companies know what it is, but so we started gradually learning, and in that learning process, we made a lot of mistakes. We lost a lot of money until date. I mean, there are a couple of things in management which we are losing out on because of various reasons. If you guys are interested, I can talk to you about that journey also. But right now, my main focus will be okay, what are the statutory compliances and what account, as per what are the things which you should look in finance and accounting that others are also picking up. Maybe last 10-15 minutes, I'll tell you about the other things, what journey, how we changed our logo, how we did that, how it impacted my business, how it impacted my cash flows, my profitability. These are all very integrated. So, I mean, if you just take in isolation, I want to do this thing, it becomes very academic. Fine, I can do that also, but it becomes very, very academic. One thing which is very, very important, which I would like to tell everybody, there's something very basic. I'm not going to tell you something which has got rocket science or, I've got the knowledge from moon, Mars, somewhere. It's something very basic. The first mistake which quite a few startups, because quite a few of you must be from technical background also, who have got very little idea about, finance, accounts, commerce. So when you come from that background, one mistake which a couple of startups they do is they don't open a separate bank account. They mix up their personal account and the company account. Okay, when there are 2 or 3 co-founders, then naturally, I mean, they have to pool in money. So there has to be a separate account. So they give a name to the company and they open up a separate account. But if there is an individual person who is starting a business, the first very important principle is that you should open a separate account for 4 reasons. One, it gives you a very clear-cut indication how much money are you putting into the business, right? Because you open an account and you put 50,000 in that. Now you know all the expenses if you do from there. You know this is exactly what you are spending. Otherwise, what will happen? If you are doing it from your personal account, you are going for a movie, that money is also going there. If you are spending for business, that money is also going there. And after 1 year, you forget okay, which money is for what, because all details are not there in the bank statement. Then you keep on wondering, yeah, this was for the movie, or it was for my entertainment, or was it for my friends, whatever. So the first very elementary thing is open a separate bank account and manage it well. The second, it offers you a legal protection. Tomorrow, if there is a question, you are asked, okay, how much money have you spent? Like I'm sure, I mean, in this setup also, if there is a funding element, they will ask you. They will ask you for your profit and loss account statements. They will ask you where have you spent the money, whether it's gone into marketing, your capex, so that segregation becomes very, very essential. Okay, so this helps you in segregating that. So it gives you a legal protection in a way. You know how much money has come into it and where have you spent the money. The third thing is that when you issue a check from your business account, it's very professional. Issuing a check saying signed by Siddesh, it's very different. Okay, and signing a check saying ABC Agro Intertech, it's a very different. So when you are dealing with people, it gives a very different connotation and it gives a very different impression. This again, it gets linked. I mean, this is linked to branding. You're branding your company this way. So even finance is very, very closely linked how you're branding yourself, how you're branding the company. Are you getting my point? So this becomes very, very essential, the branding part of it. Then the last but not the least, there are a lot of statutory compliances like taxation is there, company law is there, you have to file returns. So all those things, the GST is there. Suppose like, I mean, you guys are into selling business, you come to that stage where your GST registered. So, I mean, all that, whatever receipts are coming, whatever is going on, tomorrow if there's a questioning, at least the details are there in one place. So it's very, very important. The other thing is like, the first thing Ankit, when he asked me, he said, Samir, he calls me Samir sir because of the age difference, but I prefer to be called Samir. So he said, Samir sir, tell me, what is the best manner I can contribute? My first reaction was, hey Ankit, you are an engineer. Okay. You understand technology. I don't. I know, what is technology from the top. But you know what is technology from inside. So you got to help me out. Finance, you leave it to me. Legal, you leave it to me. And sales, both of us will handle. So in any organization, the second thing, what is very important is, you guys got to assess, you got to make a chart of your capabilities. That is one. Suppose there are 3 co-founders. What are these co-founders good at? And do they come from diverse background? Invariably, other thing what happens is all the co-founders, they're all college mates for youngsters. It's a very common thing. 3 friends will get together, maybe from IIT, maybe from an engineering college, or maybe from a business college. They all get together and say, hey, listen, it's a brilliant idea. Let's start a startup. And it's fashionable also to start a startup. I mean, these days, so everybody talks of a startup. Okay, so anyway, so they want to start a startup. So now what happens is they're not from diverse backgrounds. One person, I mean, nobody's there from logistics. Suppose they're all engineers and they're electronic engineers, same class fellows. Now they won't have they might know a little bit about, logistics, operations, HR. These are all very different streams, right? So you got to compile what are your skill sets. So one very important skill set is finance. I'm coming to finance now. So there has to be somebody who understands finance very well, either within the co-founders, or you have an employee, or you have a professional who's guiding you, right? But that access to that skill set is absolutely essential. You cannot do without it. Otherwise, 1 year you can manage till the business levels are low, 2 years you can manage, the business levels are low, but 3rd year, you get into an utter mess. Utter mess means you with a capital, utter with a capital U. I can guarantee you that. Despite the fact I'm a chartered accountant, I left a few things on my accountant totally, who was a youngster, and I'm still struggling today to getting it cleaned up. Okay. In fact, just before this session, I was talking to him and giving him instructions to do these 5 things. And day after tomorrow when I'm there, I'm going to look into it, because the mess which gets created, it becomes impossible to manage it. It becomes very difficult and very expensive also. Because then you'll hire somebody, you will get somebody, chartered accountant, they will find it an opportunity to make money out of you, to skin you, take your pound of flesh. They become the merchant of Venice in that case. So all those things, they keep happening. So that becomes very important. So very low percentage of new business owners actually go over every number in the finance. One thing which I keep telling everybody, I said a CEO, a chief executive, the owner of a company, or a person who's heading any company, even in a job, he has to know where each rupee is coming from and where each rupee is going. Okay. Even if it's not very formal, it should be there in the back of your mind. Okay, I had 1 lakh rupees in my account, 20% went in salary, approximately 19 to 21. Okay, fine. In my product development, 40% has gone. Okay. And in such and such activity, again 40% has gone. And then if you know that and you find that other activities has not yielded any result, then you got to curtail it. Right? And if you are finding that, okay, your product development or marketing or sales, that is yielding more result and giving you more revenue, so you got to divert the funds. Cut down wasteful expenditure. Initially, it's very easy because there are only 5 expenses, 10 expenses, 15 expenses. But as you get deeper and deeper into it, you will find it a problem. Okay, and that's why I'm saying it's very essential that you should know each and every rupee, where is it coming from Is it coming from you? Is it coming from sales? Has your investor contributed? Have you taken a debt? Okay, or your, somebody else has funded it, a cohort has funded, or from where the money is coming. It becomes very, very essential. If your incubation center is giving you money, so you have to know the source. What do you do in your daily life? When you were a kid, when you were a teenager, your dad used to give you 200 rupees. This company finance is very close to your personal finance. Okay, that's another thing which I keep. It's not difficult. People think like finance is extremely difficult. What did you do? Your dad used to give you 1,000 rupees as pocket money. Okay, what did you do? You said, this month I'm going to spend money. I want this particular t-shirt. I'm going to spend money on that. Or you used to say, hey, I'm going to save money and maybe next month I'm going to take my girlfriend or, out for a trip. What happened? So you used to save that money for a particular reason. Okay. Or you used to say, here my, something is gone wrong. Maybe your music system. I'll get it repaired. It's expensive, 3,000 rupees, but I've got, accumulated money, so I'll get it repaired. So that was your budgeting. It was a very informal kind of a budgeting in your mind. Everybody has done it. Let me know one person who didn't do it. You also did it. Okay. Now, right now also you do it. Whatever money you have got for your personal expenses, you kind of budget it. Okay. Same thing goes for your business. Identical. Now, in your personal thing, what used to happen? Everything planned out. Wonderful evening. We'll go for a dance party. Everything happens and bought the tickets. And suddenly you start coughing and you touch yourself. High fever. What happened? You couldn't utilize that ticket. You call one of your friends. Hey, you take the ticket. You go. You take anyone you want. Except for my girlfriend, but you take any other person. So, you give that ticket away to that person and then you go to a doctor. Doctor says, okay, 1,500. What happens here? It becomes a contingency. Right? Unforeseen expenditure. Clear? Very clear. I don't think there's any ambiguity in this.
No, sir.
Right? So that becomes contingency. Similarly in business, you are expecting everything to go perfect. But something might suddenly go wrong. So you got to keep a provision for that. So that's why cash flows are extremely important and your financial literacy is no rocket science, let me tell you. Only your planning capability, you have to develop that. Okay? You have to keep a percentage, 10% of your total expenditure, 15% of your total expenditure, depending on the nature of business. If it's a very, very predictable business, okay, then you have to keep a low percentage. But low percentage you have to keep. You never know, the wall might fall down. Suddenly you might find that there are rats inside the room. You might have to get a pesticide guy come. Okay, anything can happen. Maybe the monkeys will get in and create a havoc there. It's happened. I'm not joking. This input, somebody's doing that input work. He was into seed input. He didn't realize that one of his windows was left open. And next day when he came, he found like 2-3 monkeys that wrapped up the whole thing. And he lost nearly about 6 lakh worth of stuff. 2 days, I think his room was locked. They crabbed all over the place. They dirtied the place. They messed it up. And they mixed up all the grains. They mixed up all the seeds. And you can't remove, you can't segregate the seeds here. They tore open the bag. So these kind of contingencies can happen. If, despite the fact you take the most uttermost care of it, it can happen. So some provision necessarily you got to keep. Okay. So now coming back to the point, when you know what business are you into, what are you gunning at, sit down, breathe for 5-7 minutes, deep breathing, and say, now, okay, let me think. Okay, this is where I want to go. This is what I have done. This is where I am. And then you start planning. You say, normally the way I do it might not be the best way, but the way I do it, I don't look at my resources, how much money I have. I look what is the optimum if I have to reach a goal. if I have to sell Haldi Vita of 1 crore rupees worth, what are the kind of expenses which I'll have to incur? I'll need 3 people to handle the office. I'll need an office with a godown. I'll need a production facility. I'll need transportation. I'll need electricity, water. I'll need machinery. So you list down the whole thing. It's called a dhobi list, in my words. So I prepare a dhobi list, like you said, 2 shirts, 1 trousers, 2 socks. So it's a kind of a dhobi list. You list down everything. You say, okay, fine. These are the 20 heads or 20 different expenditure. This is my fixed expenditure. Like I need table chairs. Now every month I'm not going to buy table chairs. I don't need to buy laptops. I don't need to buy machinery. So that becomes a one-time expenditure, capital expenditure, which has to be spent upfront. Or maybe it has been to be spanned out over a period of time. Like laptops. If I hire 3 people, I need 3 laptops. Okay, 2 I'll hire after 3 months, so I'll need 2. So you month by month you create what is your total requirement. Now if you have to pay them salary, it will come every month. That becomes a recurring expenditure. Yes, something very elementary, everybody knows. So you prepare whatever is your requirement and then you work it backwards. Okay, if I have to come to 1 crore, I might need to spend about maybe 1.5 crores in the next 8 months to reach that level. It might not be profitable initially. So you create that kind of a dashboard and say, okay, this is to achieve this target. It could be any target. It could be a technology development target also. To achieve this target, this will be my total outlay. Okay, and I need so much. Then you start working, okay, if I need 1.8 crores, how much can I spend? I have got a saving of 12 lakh rupees, nothing beyond that. Can I ask my dad? Maybe he'll give me a tight rap, but maybe he'll say, my son is like capable. Okay, I'll give him another 30-40 lakhs. So 52. Fine. I'll ask my co-founder, since I'm investing so much, he'll give another 20, 72 lakhs. Can I borrow some money? So then you create another dashboard of resources. And then you find, okay, yeah, this now, it's very difficult to do 1.8 crores collection. I can only get 1.4 crores or maybe 1.2 crores. Okay, this much I can get. Now what do? You do a forward planning. With 1.2, can I cut down any expenditure from my dashboard without impacting my business? Maybe I don't need an office in one of the posh areas. Let me go away to 5 kilometers. If I go 5 kilometers, maybe my rent will reduce by 15,000 a month. Okay, I have taken expenditure for 6 months. So 90,000 I save. Got it? Instead of 3 people, can I hire 2 people? But again, it should not impact your goal. Then also you find with whatever you have done, instead of 1.2, still the figure comes to 1.45. Then the next stage comes, okay, with 1.2, how much can I optimize? Okay, if I don't do 1.8, then should I scale it down and say, okay, I'll do 1.4, 1.6. Instead of 1 crore, I do it 80 lakhs or 85 lakhs. Is that clear to everybody? So 3 stages. First stage, what is the first stage? Dashboard of, absolutely, expenses and revenues. Second stage, resources. Third stage, mapping and adjusting. Clear? First is expenses, revenues, looking at your target. Second comes, kind of optimizing it, optimization. And third comes, you're balancing it. Actually, I've covered this only, conduct financial forecast to gauge profitability. And then you also got to see, like I was just listening to Praveen before this, he made a very valid point.